Mentoring Missions Advocates. This is GlobalCASTresources.com.
Hi, I'm Bevan, and I'd like to just take a moment and see if I can encourage missions advocates just like you. From where I sit, I think the heart of a missions advocate, somebody who's going to stay within their community and advocate for God's heart for the nations, advocate for the Great Commission, help people find their roles in fulfilling the Great Commission, is one of the most important roles. Really, yeah. Because, I mean, everybody understands the guy who's supposed to reach our city locally and make sure believers are strong and healthy and healed up. And everybody understands the role of the guy who goes and preaches the gospel in the uttermost parts of the earth. But there is a real key role for what I would call advocates or bridge people who stand in the gap between the body of Christ where it is and those who are trying to plant the body of Christ where it is not yet, right? We really need folks who have a passion for the local church and also a passion for the nations and are willing to try and connect those two things, try to connect the senders, the ordinary believers, with those who have gone out so that they're not out of sight, out of mind, and that there's a way to actually really sustain the people we send well. Yeah, so it's just such an important role. You know, I like to remind myself and all my ministry partners of Romans 10:13 and following, where it says, how can they hear unless somebody goes to preach? So I really do need people on the ground speaking their language and sharing in a way where they can understand. But and after that it says, how can they preach unless they are sent? And it says then, talks about having beautiful feet, whatever that's about. Beautiful feet for bringing the good news. Yay, good. But who has the beautiful feet? Most people would assume, I think, it's the preacher. But I would like to suggest that it's the preacher and the sender. There would not be any people going and sent unless there were senders. And many times the senders just need some leadership. They need missions advocates, just like you, who are on the inside of their community, who know their community and love their community and have demonstrated their willingness to serve locally as well, but also are saying, hey, let's lift our eyes. Let's look at the nations. Let's see what God is doing. Let's see what our role is in that as well. And so I just really, really wanted to encourage you that what you're doing to advocate for the Great Commission from within your community is so vital. Another just small piece is that sometimes when we get in touch with the huge need that's out there, 1/3 of the planet without any access to the gospel, that's a huge injustice. When you get in touch with something like that, it can become a very strong, compelling need that drives you, and at least it has for me. And I have in some cases then been driven to try and push people in a way that was not healthy, not life-giving. You want to invite people into the Great Commission in a way that's full of life, rather than try to judge people and manipulate people into action. That just doesn't work well. And so I feel like for a missions advocate, there is a dark side to it. It can be done from a place of judgment. And the tricky thing about this is that I could be technically correct in my judgment. It could be that these people are lazy and selfish. But if I take on this righteous attitude and point my bony finger at them and start judging, it's not going to produce life. All the walls are going to come up and there's not going to be any movement, any ownership toward the things that are on God's heart and their role in it. Okay, so I'll be praying that God gives you life-giving ways to highlight the incredible privilege it is to be a part of what God's doing, and the incredible stories of what God is already doing, and how you guys in your community, your church, will have a role to play in it. And that just let's not miss out on this. Let's be a part of this amazing season of spiritual history. Okay, that's how I'll be praying for you, and I hope to resource you in any way I can in an ongoing way.
Mentoring Missions Advocates. This is GlobalCASTresources.com.